Well, from the closure of Liddell and the nervousness of the local community to the opportunity the energy transition represents for Australia if we get it right. Over the years, we've spoken to Rod Sims many times about competition and consumer issues in his former role as chairman of Competition Authority, the ACCC. Well, Sims has become chair of a new body, the Superpower Institute, founded by economist Ross Garnaut, the Australia's former ambassador to China. Rod Sims now joins me from Adelaide. Rod, many thanks for your time. The one thing about this Superpower Institute is it's looking to what looks like right now a challenge for Australia, the end of cheap electricity and energy, to something that is actually an opportunity, and that is the new dawn of an era of where Australia again dominates the energy supply to the world.
Absolutely, Ross. People are looking at the loss of our tremendously valuable and things that have underpinned Australia for a long time, our exports of coal and gas, which have been terrific. But what they ignore as we run into the climate change challenge is that we've got the world's best combination of solar and wind resources. We've got the world's best biomass resources as well. We are extremely well placed. So as the world moves to green products, as the world moves to net zero emissions, we are the ones who can supply the world with the cheapest products using the world's cheapest renewable energy.
Does this need the sort of reform and the amount of money, say, that the US government is now pouring into its renewable space to try and, if you like, catch up, to make certain we don't fall behind, especially in the generation and the creation of hydrogen?
Look, we need to move quickly, Ross. There's no doubt about that. But we just have an underlying competitive advantage here that I think needs to be kept in mind. Not only can it yield low-priced electricity for Australia simply because we'll have the cheapest electricity and there'll be enough of it that you don't need to worry about backing it up too much. But in addition, if we get it right, we can make products that will reduce the world's emissions by 8%. That is, we can make, rather than ship the iron ore out in form of ore, we can turn it into green metal, because it's the natural place to do that, because you want to turn the iron ore into metal in the place where it's got the lowest cost energy. And this renewable energy you'd be using, of course, you can't actually export it very effectively. So we're now in a world where it makes sense for us to process minerals into metal, to make fertiliser, make urea, all these sort of things in Australia. It's a fantastic opportunity, Ross.
But then, of course, the whole question about green hydrogen becomes a very real issue, because that can be exported in the same sort of facilities that we already export liquefied natural gas. You've also got ammonia that can go in the same way. These are going to be energy sources that the world will require. And again, like gas, it can be highly volatile if misused. But the reality is it actually, once generated, can be transported.
Look, that's right, Ross, but I think the economics of it are that the green hydrogen we can make here, the green ammonia we can make here, just simply the renewable energy we can make here, it's so much more cost effective to use it here than it is in the days when we were, as we are now, exporting a lot of coal and gas. Yes, you can export hydrogen, but it takes a lot more of the container to do so. It's not as easy to do as gas. So I think that the cost implications are there's a lot more things that need to be processed in Australia. This is just great news for Australian jobs and living standards, but also if we can help abate 8% of the world's emissions, we're making a pretty big contribution on the world stage as well.
Okay, so are there lessons to be learned from our current energy boom, the boom in gas and coal that we've had? From that, we created aluminium smelters. We had steel works as well. But then what also happened was when we created the Gladstone gas hub, we exported all of that gas, presuming there was lots more gas in our Australian system. Now we have shortfalls. I'm just wondering whether reservations should be created for some of the critical minerals that Australia has. In particular, lithium's the one that I look at, because it seems almost these days if there's a new lithium deposit, it's actually been sold, the output, to either Tesla or China, even before a ton of dirt has come out of the ground.
Look, understand the point, Ross. I think with the gas, you know, the east coast of Australia was used to $3 to $4 gas. Gladstone came along, not only sucked up the available gas, but sucked up the gas that was being used for domestic purposes, and you saw the price triple overnight on companies that were in just no place to stand that. I think here, because you've got the very cheap renewable energy, which if we do it at scale will be by far the cheapest in the world, I just think we'll be okay with all those minerals. I think you will need to process them here. I don't know how much you'll make the batteries here, Ross, even though we've got a lot of the ingredients for that. But I don't think that's a big worry now, perhaps something to keep an eye on. But we have just got so many of those transition minerals. I mean, lithium, as you say, we're the world's biggest supplier. We've got enormous amounts of copper. We can make enormous amounts of silicon. We're half the world's iron ore. The world is going to keep needing steel, aluminium and copper. No doubt it's going to keep needing urea for fertilisers. We can make them here using our lowest cost renewable energy. So it's a great news story, Ross.
Many thanks for your time on the program today.
Good on you, Ross. Lovely to speak to you.